your first and last name so we can pair you with your onboarding manager?
Should be like 7 of them. Everyone else already marked as here.
Okay.
Do you want me to introduce or you're just running it start to finish, all you?
I'll just run it.
Cool. Do you want to do the slideshows yourself or do you want me to
Yeah,
kind of play background on that?
I'll do 'em.
Cool.
Let's go.
Ready, Mike?
Ready when
Oh,
you
yeah.
are.
Ready.
All right, here they come.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
What's up, guys? Do me a favor. Please mute yourselves so that we're not doing echoing hellos for the next 10 minutes or so, as much as we would love to. I know your time is so valuable, and we don't want to take a lot of your time. We've assembled all of the leaders from within the Vasu organization to be here today for this particular meeting. And we want to welcome all of you guys and congratulate you for making it to this step. You know, we cast the net out very, very wide. In fact, we probably spend more time in talent acquisition than almost anything else that we do. Why is that? You know, when you want to build a championship team, you build a championship team with championship individuals. So today, what we want to do is to go through all of the details of things you're probably wondering, things you'd like to know more about. My kids just got back from Yogi Bear. Hi, baby girl. I'm going to come out there in a couple minutes, okay? So you know, I'm going to go through a lot of the details of things that you're wondering about, and whatever I don't fill in the blanks on, we're going to welcome you and invite you to go ahead and ask any questions that you guys may have. So just to give you a little brief background on myself, my name's Mike Vasu. I'm the owner of the agency. I've been with American Income for almost 20 years now. I started with the company in January of 2006. I don't know where some of you guys were in January of 2006 when I was writing my first application with the company. Some of you may have been playing with a rubber ducky in a bathtub, and I was out there writing my first application and still with American Income. It's been a tremendous blessing to me. So I feel like I'm in a unique position to speak with a tremendous amount of passion about what we do as an organization. Just so you guys know, when we bring people on board to be part of our team here, we don't look for a certain background, a certain degree, or a certain resume. I've looked at thousands of resumes over the course of my career, and I got to tell you, they all look good. Everyone I've sat with has told me they have a great work ethic. They're super coachable. They've got goals. They've got dreams. They've got aspirations. Those are a kind of par for the course, especially in an interview. You're going to kind of put your best foot forward. But what I really want to talk about are the qualities that we believe will make you compatible with our organization, and also to be very clear about the types of qualities that we believe our culture represents. When we talk about compatibility, you know, you can have the best guy in the world, the best girl, doesn't mean they should be together in a relationship. They may be happier being apart. And another example or analogy that I give is I'm from Cleveland, Ohio originally. And growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, I got to tell you, we didn't have a lot of great things happening with our sports teams. I know you probably, many of you already feel bad for me. I got to Texas in 2015 as quickly as I possibly could, but we had bad football teams. I mean, our football team left. They moved to Baltimore and then won a bunch of Super Bowls. You know, the best thing that probably ever happened to us was LeBron James. And LeBron, you know, is an amazing basketball player. Okay. And if he, when he was a kid, said, you know what, I don't want to play basketball. I absolutely want to be a jockey. I want to ride horses one day and be the best jockey at the Kentucky Derby. He wouldn't, that's the wrong sport. He's too tall for it. Okay. And he was born to play basketball. That's what God gifted him with. So we believe that if this is the right sport for you, there's no better organization you can be a part of. So what I want to do first is just reiterate our 7 C's which we believe are the most important things when it comes to, someone being part of our organization. The first C is character. That's the foundation upon which all the others are built. In fact, I would refer to it as the glue. You can be talented, you can be gifted, you can be funny, but if you don't have character, I believe there's going to be a train wreck at some point in your life. And frankly, I don't want that train wreck to happen here where it takes all of us down. If you watch the news and they talk about businesses and CEOs and all this stuff, very rarely do they say, hey, their leadership wasn't that good, or, they weren't that good at their job. It's usually character problems that take them out. So we look for character, honesty, integrity, doing the right thing when no one's watching. What happens to the shopping cart at the grocery store when you're done with it? Those things are character. Number 2 is competence. I want my dentist to be a nice guy, okay? But if he's got a drill in my mouth, a drill in my grill, I think as the kids say, then I want him to know what he's doing, okay? So we want you to be a person that has integrity and honesty and character, but also someone that is committed to being a professional in this career. When I came to American Income, my plan right out of graduate school was to go to law school. So when I decided to stay with American Income and turn down a full scholarship to law school, I said to myself, this is going to be my law school. I'm going to attack this for the next 3 years, just like a law student would attack law school. So I'm going to learn the ins and outs of this business, and that has served me well. If I would have been paid for these last 20 years based on what I knew, I would be dead broke. Instead, I got paid for what I learned. And that's the kind of environment we create here. Number 3 is confidence. You got to be okay with the person God made you to be. We know that everybody has construction barrels on. We will till the day we die. But you've got to be recognizing of the fact that God has gifted you with certain things. And your confidence comes the more and more you share those gifts with the world, and the less and less you think about yourself. Okay? So, confident people don't necessarily think less of themselves, but more so think about themselves less, which is a famous C.S. Lewis quote about humility. We don't want you to confuse confidence with cockiness or arrogance. It's not what we're talking about. Number 4 is chemistry. We're team-oriented here. We care about each other. I would go as far as to say many elements of what we've created here are very family-like. Now, we've got a business to run. Okay, we've got responsibilities and things that we've got to get done and do, but we want to create an environment that people love to be a part of and where people can thrive. So we're very team oriented here. If you're the kind of person that's like, I like to be left alone and don't talk to anyone, you're going to hate it here. We're engaged. We've got GroupMe boards, Slack, Discord, all different types of things. We love doing things together. We believe that there's power in numbers. They say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We want to go far with people that move fast. Number 5, commitment. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. It's not a feeling you have. It's a decision that you make. Okay. You don't ever, if your commitment is always capped based on how you feel, then you're never going to be committed. Okay. So we look for individuals that keep their promises. Number 6, competitiveness. We're not talking about comparison. We're not talking about comparing yourself to anybody else. What I'm talking about is you being the best version of you. Oftentimes people will tell us, I have X amount of years of experience of doing something. And what they mean is that they learned how to do something for 1 year and they repeated it for 9. Okay. Competitive people are constantly looking for an edge. They're constantly looking to get better. They're not satisfied with yesterday's victories. They want to keep winning. Last but not least is consistency. It's doing unremarkable things in a remarkably consistent way that produces remarkable results. Not being a one-hit wonder. Okay. If I neglected my wife Daisy, and just didn't talk to her and we didn't hang out or whatever, and like one time a year on our anniversary, we had a romantic dinner, and she's like, Mike, this is just not working. I'm not happy. Our marriage is not healthy. I'm like, what are you talking about? We had an anniversary dinner. No, that's not how it works. Okay. It's what you do consistently that makes the difference, not what you do occasionally. So those are the 7 C's, and that's what we're committed to building here. And these are the things that we're looking for in an individual that would join our team. I think we put out a message into the chat, but if your name is, Zoom user or the name of your phone, if you could do me a favor, just, if you're on your computer, you can click on the three dots next to your name and you can rename yourself on your phone. It should be some way to do it just so that we know who you are, so we can take attendance, so we can match you up with the correct individual that you should be. No, don't put it in the chat. Change your name. Okay. So let me go ahead and just give you guys an overview over what to expect for the next 25 minutes. We're going to go through licensing. We're going to review that, what our typical schedule looks like, how we get paid, what the career track looks like, and then we're going to move to one-on-one meetings. Okay. So let's talk about licensing. Licensing in Texas is a requirement. This is a compliance thing. Okay. So what we do is simply just follow the rules of the state of Texas to get you licensed. If for some reason you're outside of the state of Texas, we'll walk you through that. You'll need a non-resident license in Texas. It's just the Texas General Lines Life Accident Health and HMO. If you have this license, you don't have to go through licensing. It takes 2 to 5 weeks on average to get your license. It involves an online class, which we walk you through. It takes 7 to 10 days to get through there. We encourage you to spend about 3 hours per day moving through that. A state exam where you've got to score at least a 70, which is a C minus D plus. Okay, so they said D is for diploma. You don't need to be a scholar. You don't need to be a professor of insurance. You just need to pass your exam. Nobody's ever going to ask you what your score was. So we want to emphasize the course prepares you to pass. It doesn't prepare you to score 100. So you have to absolutely master the course, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as you go through the process. You need a background check in the state of Texas. Okay, so if you have any background issues or anything like that, you may want to you should let your upline, whoever you're meeting with, you should let them know, because we may need to get you a pre-approval so you don't waste your time. So we'll put your contract in early with the company just to see that they'll approve you. Most things are not a big deal. License application with the state, once you finish those things. And in order for us to onboard you, we have you sign up for the course and the state test. There's no skin in the game aside from that. Okay. So the course is $49 and the state exam is around $50 or something like that. And we'll walk you through all that stuff when we do the one-on-one. At this point, what I want to do as we kind of transition between sections is I just want to open up to any questions. If you could hit the react raise hand button, that will queue you up. Don't ask specifics about your situation. So don't say I stole a car 2 years ago. Is that going to be an issue for my license? You can do that in the one-on-one. We just want general things that maybe we missed to go ahead and answer those questions. So react, raise hand, that'll queue you up. Excellent. Let's talk about best practices. So one of the things that we try to emphasize to people is that here you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. In other words, you don't have caps, limitations. We don't have vacation time here. We don't have sick days. For all intents and purposes, you're responsible for you. But we also feel that it would be irresponsible not to give you a game plan for success. We think it would be irresponsible not to show you how to invest your time. We're going to give you one more shot. If your name is Zoom user, iPhone, Samsung S4433689, you got to change your name so we know who you are. So what we try to do is give you a best practices where you know what you should be doing when. And it's pretty simple, okay? So right now on a typical week, Mondays and Wednesdays, we're working primarily during the daytime, okay? We're booking appointments primarily for the next day. Tuesday and Thursday. Okay. Tuesday and Thursday, we sit with families when they're home. We do this on Zoom. So we don't have to drive around to go to people's homes. All we got to do is Zoom, and we sit with families and we boom, make money. That's it. Okay. So what we do is we literally sit with families that have either requested that we contact them, are existing policyholders of ours, or are due for some sort of an upgrade to their program, whether that's AIL Plus or whatever it may be, or they were referred into the program. We call them, we book an appointment, we recreate history. We say, hey, Dylan, it's Mike Vasu. I'm calling because you filled out an online request for the Child Safe ID kit, or, hey, Martin, this is Mike Vassio. I'm calling with American Income. We're part of Globe Life. You requested some quotes on insurance. I'm calling to give you those quotes. Whatever it is, we have a script for it. When we're in the homes, we have a program called Sale Base, where as long as you can read, you can make money. Monday through Friday are our prime time hours. In your first 90 days in the business, you're going to need to invest Saturdays as well. And most people, for the most part, they work Saturdays too. Okay. More in the morning time, the early part of the day. As the day moves on Saturday, people have birthday parties, they've got weddings, they've got get-togethers, different things going on. And a lot of our people like to work on Sundays. I mean, just think about if you were selling your home and you had a realtor, and your realtor was like, I only work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Are you going to use that realtor? Nope. Ain't nobody going to look at your house. So it's the same in our business. The advantage we have is we don't have to give up, every single night all weekend long. We do recommend that you try to get ahead where you can, and to also be cognizant of the fact that when you're newer in the business and don't have as much experience, you can magnify and multiply your skill set much faster by investing a little bit more time where other people don't. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions about our best practices? Still got it. All right, let's talk about compensation. Money. That's the reason you're here. Whenever I ask people, what is it that attracted you here? And they start talking about I like helping people and I like this and I like that. I like that too. But let's face it, unless you're independently wealthy and grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth, you're here to make money. And if you're going to make money, then my belief has always been be at a place where you can make a lot of it. I grew up in an Eastern European family. My parents are immigrants from Eastern Europe. They worked factory work, warehouse work, things like that. So they were always, we always had what we needed, but pretty much it was paycheck to paycheck. Money was always a concern. When you grow up that way, some of you guys may have been a lot more fortunate than me. I don't know about you. I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to have to relive that. I want to be in a different situation. And it was one of the things that attracted me to American Income was, yes, we could help people. Yes, we could do it honestly. Yes, I was gaining amazing skill set, but also I was able to make a lot of money. So, as I talk about the compensation, I want to emphasize we're talking about averages. So I hope most of you feel that you're at least average. Okay. And I understand for most of you, you haven't done this before. That's okay. The same principles that allow you to excel at McDonald's, almost said a bad word. We're in Whataburger country here, baby. Same thing that would allow you to excel at Whataburger, being on time, being coachable, executing, having pride in your work. The same thing applies here. It's just a different kind of work. Okay. So I hope all of you feel that you're about average. I will tell you that individuals that excel here tend to have two things: above average work ethic and above average goals for their lives. They're not satisfied paycheck to paycheck, making $800, $900, $1,000 a week. Typically, they're people that want more. They've been frustrated. Not that we're looking for frustrated people, but they've been frustrated that they've been underpaid for a long time, paid a heavy tax. And when they see the way our compensation works, where you can work virtually from anywhere on the planet, you can work from the moon if you had internet, okay? And you can make money at any time, they're blown away by this, okay? So let me show you what the averages are for a career with our organization. So on average, over the course of a week, we expect you to see at least 8 families. You'll make 2 to 3 sales. What I'm saying is that over the course of 2 weeks, you'll sell 5. Make sense? You'll see 16, you'll sell about 5, maybe 6. Each sale is about $1,000 in annual premium, meaning the average family spends about $83 a month with us. That's less than cell phone bills. That's less than car insurance. That's less than health insurance. So it becomes, out of all the insurance, like their lowest bill that they have. And to me, the most important one, they require you to insure your $30,000 car. How about your life? If you make $50,000 a year and you're working for another 30, that's $1.5 million. They don't require you to insure that for your loved ones and your family. So we sell the best product under the sun. Nobody does what we do, what we get to do. So on average, you're going to write between $2,000 and $3,000 in business every single week. So let's just go between 2 and 3 and call it 2.5. Okay. On 8 presentations, you're going to write about $2,500 in ALP. You guys have to be good with money and numbers. So for those of you that are visiting, I'd like to see some heads going up and down so that I know that you're understanding what I'm saying, so that I'm not talking like I'm talking to a brick wall. $2,500 in ALP. Your advance is going to be about $975. It comes out to being about 40%. The average weekly bonus in our office is $330, although a lot of people make even more bonus money than that, which means that on average, you're going to make about $1,305 in weekly pay, or $67,902 in the year. That's for our organization. The average first-year person internationally with the company makes about $65,000 in income. Okay. Now, if you're an overachiever, so I'm looking at Michael Hernandez. Michael looks dialed in. He looks hungry. He looks like he wants to do big things. And he's like, man, only 8 people. Am I allowed to see more people than that? Dylan Rankin, is he allowed to see more people than that? How many people can he see?
As many as he wants to.
As many as he wants. Our top people, Michael, they're seeing over 20 people every single week. So you can just do the math. They're making 6 to 7 sales a week or more. And then you can see the income that's generated from doing that kind of work. Okay. Many of them are more experienced, so they're making even more sales than that. And every single week we get together and we celebrate our top people. We recognize their performance so that you can see the proof is in the pudding. Anyone, you guys can all hear me, right? Somebody asked in the chat if I'm on mute. I'm not on mute. Okay. So I like to talk loud. In fact, I don't even like repeating myself. You know what I mean? People usually, they're like this around me. I'm like, no, I don't like to repeat myself. I don't have that kind of time. I'm 43 years old already. I'm running out of time. I got to get moving. But our top people guys are, they're making 6, 7, 8 only on the production side. This is not leadership. $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a week in weekly income. You're not capped. You're not limited. The difference with what we do versus mortgages or real estate or anything like that, we sit with the family immediately. They enroll, we get paid that week. Okay. We're not waiting. There's not a waiting game. We don't have to wait for them to be approved or anything like that. So you're in control over your income. So you determine how much money you want to make, and then the path is math. Any questions about income? I always tell people it's real simple. You're going to make about $500 every time someone enrolls on average. Okay. Based on our numbers. Now, to give you an idea of the kind of performance that people have internationally with our company. Okay. And by the way, this wasn't this way when I first started. Okay. The company had over 1,146 people that made over $100,000 in 2024. 494 people made over $200,000. 208 people made over $400,000. 61 people made over $1 million, pretty close to about 25, 30% of our agency force was 6 figures plus that's been with our company for at least 12 months, where they had 12 months of income. And a big reason for that, and the reason why people choose a career in this industry and why more millionaires are born out of this industry than any other industry in the United States. I want to repeat that, and I want you to see me when I say it because it got me excited. More millionaires are born out of this industry than any other industry in the United States of America. I don't know how many millionaires are in your immediate family. I'll tell you how many I have in mind. None. You know what I thought to myself? You want to be the first? How about be at the place that produces more millionaires than anybody else? And a big reason for that is residual income. See, if you're in sales or in business, you're starting over every year. January 1st, you're at 0. You got to restart. Not here. See, when people buy insurance, it's based on their age and their health. Okay. As age goes up, cost goes up. As age goes up, health problems go up. So when we sit with a family and they enroll in our benefits, guys, they keep them for a lifetime. Make sense? So what happens is year 1, you get your weekly pay, weekly bonus. Year 2, you get your weekly pay, weekly bonus plus residual income from year 1. Fast forward to year 5, weekly pay, weekly bonus, residuals from year 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're building this profit share. It's like a pension. If you're familiar with pensions, my dad worked 40 plus years, United States Steelworkers Union, to retire and get half of what he couldn't live on when he was working. And he had to wait to retire to get that. Here you get it while you're working. And the beautiful part about it is that we have a vesting program where every year you're 10% vested. And after 10 years, you're vested for life, where you get to keep 100% of your residuals, whether you work here or not. If you die in the first 10 years, your beneficiary gets your residual income and they get lifetime renewals for the work that you've already done. If that's not the American dream, I don't know what would be. Our top people in our organization that haven't even been with us for 10 years are receiving upwards of $15,000 a month, every single month, in residual income. Imagine being a guy like Clayton Slaughter, our chief sales officer, who's been with us since he was 19 years old. He just turned 28, and this past month got almost $15,000 in residuals. Think about how many of his friends that are 28 years old aren't making $15,000 a month working full time. He's getting that in his sleep. So when I say it's like, that's the American dream, that's the American dream. By the way, whether you like unions or you don't, we are the only 100% union insurance company in the United States of America, and we're damn proud of that. The union gives us tons of benefits for being part of the union, as well as a contract that guarantees our career path, protects our renewals, and all different types of things. There's all different, roadside assistance, identity theft protection, all different things for being part of the group, because we serve over 20,000 different unions. We're the largest provider of supplemental benefits to union families like police officers, firefighters, teachers, teamsters, ironworkers, steelworkers, carpenters, laborers, you name it, we work with them. Okay. So we work with blue collar America. We're not working with executives and white collar people. We're working with people that were just like my dad. My dad died last year from cancer. Okay. He died not knowing how to tie a tie. That's what I mean when I say blue collar. That's how I was raised. Does that make sense? So you got to be good with just regular people. That's the main thing, the most important thing. Last thing I want to talk about is career track, growth, promotions. In most companies, you got to wait for someone to move, retire, die, do something unethical for you to have the chance to move up. In many cases, you're asked to pour into other people, develop people, train people, and you don't get anything for it. A lot of times you don't even get a pat on the back. Not here. We compensate our people very well for the work we want them to do. Okay. So let me show you how this works. As a new agent, when you come in, you're an individual producer, and on the individual producer level, individual producers typically make anywhere between $50,000 to over $300,000 in our organization. Top individual producers in the company, don't forget we're a massive company with 14,000 agents, can make over $1 million in income at the individual producer level. You're eligible for a 37.7% producer bonus at these levels. That's bonus money. That's on top of the weekly pay. So they're receiving thousands upon thousands of dollars in bonus money. But where I started to get real excited as a kid that grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, whose friends' dads were construction workers and firefighters, was this idea that I could be a business owner, that I could own my own business with the help of the agency, where we don't pay for leads. Those are all provided for our people. Where we provide supplements for health insurance, that's all provided for our people. Where our people have life insurance benefits, all provided for our people. We invest about $800 a week as an agency for every single person in our business to support them in their careers. So when we say you're not in business by yourself, I mean that. But if you make all those investments and you don't have great training, and you don't have the best agents, then you're just burning cash. Okay. So let's talk about why this is so key and so important. The first level of leadership you can attain is called a sales trainer. As a sales trainer, you can get there in as little as 3 to 6 months. Okay. You're making 25% more money than your initial contract when you start with the company. So not a lot of companies giving you 25% raises, just for being there for, 3 to 6 months, but we do. And you promote yourself. So we don't have time frames. You don't have to wait for something to happen to someone else. Like, you come in, you do a great job, you follow the system, you're consistent, you got a good attitude. We're going to make you a sales trainer. As a sales trainer, remember before where I said the average bonus is about $330? As a sales trainer, you get 125% match of the bonus of the individuals that you train. So if I'm training someone that's average and they get a bonus of about $300, just to make it easy, that person gets $300 and I receive $375. So they get their $300. It's not out of your pay, because if it was out of your pay, you wouldn't like me. I get $375 for training you. The reason this is critical is that when I come into an organization, I want to know, hey, are they investing money to make sure I get great training? So if I'm working with Michael, okay, because he happens to be on my screen, Hernandez, Michael, I'm training you, right? And the company waves this thing in front of my face called money. And they're like, listen, the better job you do training Michael, the more of this you can have. Am I going to want to give you great training?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So I'm going to actually get a bigger bonus based on your performance than from my own performance. And what this does is it makes our leadership team not only just absolutely lethal with the way they train, but it makes them really unselfish, because an average sales trainer may have 3 to 5 individuals. So now you can very quickly see how this is a multiplication effect. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. So it wouldn't matter to me. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Michael could be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'd still want to give him great training. That's just the first level of leadership. When I understood how that worked, when I got in the business, it was 50% match. They call it the BR bonus for Bernard Rappaport, our founder. Now it's 125. I was like, listen, I went to my friend Nick. He brought me in the business. I'm like, Nick, listen, how can I become a sales trainer? How quickly can I get there? And can I train the whole entire state of Ohio? Brother, I promise you, I'm going to make them all successful. I was so excited to be able to build something because nobody had ever given me that vision. And growing up in a blue collar environment, it was like, my parents were like, be realistic. It's not even realistic. You got to go to school, get an education, be in school forever, get a good job, and then maybe you can make some money. American Income took that, turned it up on its head. Roger Smith, who was the CEO when I started, was a high school dropout, ran the company for 20 years. The next level of leadership is called senior manager. On top of, the weekly advance increases, overwrites on the weekly advances, matches on the renewals, bigger renewals. Now a senior manager gets 135% bonus match. Typically, someone can get there in 6 to 12 months, making between $85,000 to $125,000 a year. Then I get real excited. We go to our junior partners and our managing partners. If the names like Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, LeBron James, the Navy SEALs, Patrick Mahomes, ring a bell? That's who these individuals are to our organization. These are the best of the best of the best. We're promoting 2 new junior partners here in July. We're super excited about it. Kevin De Silva and Nicole Smith, congratulations for making it to the big leagues, the elite level, the Navy SEALs. These people have mastered every single part of the business. They started on the bottom and they worked their way up. Okay. Just like Drake talks about in his song. Okay. So they're never going to ask you to do something they haven't proven that they've mastered and that they can do. So we know that as an organization, our top junior partners and our top managing partners, they've made income that exceeded $1 million a year, just as a junior partner and managing partner. You have big team that you're responsible for, lots of responsibility. You get to pick the direction of your organization. You get to work on the culture, and your job is real simple. It's overseeing the overall efforts and success of an entire organization and developing more leaders. Okay. So my goal when I got into the business was to get to that level. It took me under 11 months. So when you see time frames, we're just trying to be realistic with you about averages, but you can fly right past those. And I would even argue in this environment nowadays where people like things to be super easy, if you got even a decent work ethic, you can run circles around most people. So that concludes what I have to go over with you guys at this point in time. If you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer those questions for you. Just to keep everything organized, please hit the raise hand function. Awesome. I'm going to kick it over to Martin Correa. Martin was our #1 managing partner last year. He hasn't even been with us for 3 years. So when I tell you that, age. Oh, Van, let's go, Van. You got a question? Dang, I almost started doing a dance. There was a song, Van will make me dance. Van will make me dance. Wasn't there a song that said that? I was about to start dancing. I'm going to kick it over to Martin Correa. Martin, like I said, he'll be celebrating 3 years with us in July, was our top managing partner last year. So Martin, thanks for doing such a great job, and thanks for allowing me some time on this call.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. Normally I'm running it, and there's levels to this game for sure. At this point, guys, if none of you have any questions, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the one-on-one section. So you're going to see, just stay on the call. It's going to pop up on your screen. It's going to say join breakout room, and you're going to jump in there. You're going to get paired with a one-on-one manager who's going to answer any further questions that you have. And, if we are compatible, we're going to move in the same direction. If not, we wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you so much for spending time with us, and you guys all have a blessed day.